Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is your host, Bad Topics, here with none other than my man, my co-host, my homie, Mini Baby Morales, Baby Grogu, aka. What's going
So
on?
many AKAs, man. What's going on? I like that intro, man. Thank you. Congratulations on the intro. We went white on white. It looks nice. It looks decent. It looks like we're going to a Diddy party. I
You
like
know,
it.
it's temporary. You know, we go. You know how we do. We all about quality over here at the Multiverse. So we definitely going to upgrade it. But for now, it'll do.
Looks good.
Um,
I like it.
I'm definitely not unhappy with it. But you know, it'll work. Listen, man, we got a short show, a shorter show today. So we're not gonna waste too much time. We're gonna jump right into the topics. Uh, I reached out to you because when stuff starts to work on me, I'm like, let me go holler at Minnie and see how he feels about it. So I wanna put you on to something I came across this week. And it just didn't sit right with me, man. And so for that reason I wanted to be able to share this uh, uh you know video that I came across and just kind of get your feelings on it and everything like that. So let's see. Let's see if we can do that. Hold on. Get on. Slowly roll. All right, let's pull it up real quick, man. All right, here we go. Let's see what's up. Yep, everybody can see that. Cool. All right, so before I turn the video on and you get to hear what was said in this video, this individual standing in the video in the midst of a bunch of 11-year-old uh, um, football players in the midst of, I guess, a practice on the field is Gillie the King. Gillie the King is one half of the $1 million worth of game podcast. I usually follow them and like their content. Usually do a lot of uplifting stuff in the community, and usually share some pretty good points on different topics and whatnot, and have some very good videos and interviews with different entertainers and things of that nature. So I say all that to say that I was a fan. But with that being said, this is what happened when Gillie pulled up to those with the kids and decided to post this on his Instagram live. So now you'll get to hear what they're saying.
On. On.
All
We
right.
heard him. We heard him.
We heard him, right? So we heard him. So let's get that out of there, man. So first things first. Gillie, the fuck, man. Like,
By the way,
said,
Gillie the kid, not the king, the kid. Gillie the kid.
Gillie the kid. That's why I went. I went right there with Gillie the kid because this is brother, you grew up playing football. You grew up like loving football, very passionate. You were very good. A lot of people don't know that. You're very humble and don't usually talk about how good you were, but you was pretty damn good. And coming up, did you ever experience any instances where there were things said because these are 11-year-olds. These are not teenagers.
Right.
These are college players. These are 11-year-old children with minds still being developed and everything like that. So did you ever experience any type of or be put in positions where you used language that you didn't use at home, or maybe you did use the language at home and it's just felt like a place that you could also use it without being scolded or reprimanded? But did you ever experience anything like this where you had an adult kind of in the midst of the fray with you, you know, chanting it up and, you know, excited and all of that with it? Is that how y'all coaches did, or anything like that? Any experiences like that?
Well, coming up, no, in high school and not in a like what Killy the Kid was doing. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's 11-year-old kids. What are you doing? You know, you should not be using that language in front of 11-year-old, regardless of where you're at or what have you. You should be able to conduct yourself, especially if you're trying to teach the children something. What I'm guessing is what he was trying to do, within the mix of him having supposedly the fun that he was having. So that's just, you know, slow thinking right there, Mr. Gillie.
Mhm.
But coming up, no. And even in high school, I had the head coach was very non. You know, I mean, he was by the book and all that, but he had assistant coaches who were younger than him, who like I had a coach in high school who would tell you what he would do to your moms while you're stretching. You know what I'm saying? Like he would straight up tell you, like, "Hey man, I see yo so and so mama. You look, and so and so is sitting right there." It's not like he's saying it and so is not there, stretching right there. And he would just talk crazy. So that I remember the first time I experienced it, it was one of the most uncomfortable things I ever experienced in my life because it was the first time I was around an adult who was not conducting himself like an adult. Like I never had that. You know what I'm saying? Like I never had an adult conduct themselves other than professionally, even if it was no matter where it was at. Like I even had hustlers who would stop talking hustler talk just because the kid walked by.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it was the first time in my life, even through all the crazy things that I've been, that I've seen an adult just act, you know, even more childish than we was acting. So I was just like, and so I have passed through that, and I've seen that, and to me, loving football and loving what it does for young men, especially young black men and young minorities out there, when it comes in, I'm not even talking about going to the NFL or anything like that. I'm talking about being able to have balance in your life. It teaches you so many things. You know what I'm saying? That are valuable skills, and how to even deal with others in a positive way. It teaches camaraderie and stuff of that nature. I think that has no place in football at all for you to conduct yourself in that manner. Now, I have been a coach myself before, and I was coach for freshmen who are like 15-year-old. These kids are just coming to high school, starting to be young men, and they would come up to me and ask me questions that wouldn't ask their parents, and I would have every Friday, because freshmen plays on Wednesday, so every Friday night after practice, I would have a session where I had let all the boys ask me whatever they want, no holds barred, and I will answer it to the best of my abilities. Now, to me, if you're gonna go to a level when you're gonna be unprofessional, that's the only way that should be ever done. And I asked all the parents beforehand. I told them, hey, this is what's going on, blah blah blah, and they didn't even. Most of them didn't even care. Some asked me, you know, not touch this subject, that subject, whatever. But that's the way you do that, you know. And I never used profane language or anything like that. But it was a more relaxed setting that they could feel comfortable enough to ask me things as a person to person than somebody who is in a higher stature than them. But other than that, I believe football should be left to, you know, encouraging these kids to be something better than what they see around them. And that right there wasn't anything better.
Now, what I will say is I don't know much about this team. I do know that they're an inner city team. So, like, I know that there are different expectations. There are different levels of acceptance that go into inner city programs as opposed to suburban programs, or you know, whatever. But like, I don't even know how to specify. Right. But there is a lot to unpack here, right?
Right.
Because he posted it, which means that the parents of these children who are chanting this chant are aware. If they weren't aware, are very much aware now. And also it brought up a bigger subject that came up in the comment section as I went through the comments, because I do that. I'll go through the comments and kind of gauge what it is that, you know, most people are feeling based on the comments and based on the actions in the video. So as I'm going through the comments in the video section, I'm hearing you know, a lot of people criticizing what he did. And then I'm hearing a lot of people that were saying, you know, my coaches did worse than this when I was coming up. This is nothing. This is cool. Y'all are overreacting. A lot of the parents are too soft. This is man, listen, these kids is gonna be just fine. Da 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 da. And there was a lot of that. And so when I started to really unpack this, I was like, so if that's true, and there are parents that feel like this is okay, because this is obviously a chant that they do. I don't know if they do it at, you know, pre-game of every game. I don't know if they do it, you know, when they do it or where they obviously they're doing it on the practice field.
Right.
But I don't know I don't know how far it extends.
Right.
But with that being said, if the parents are aware that their kids are cursing at 11 years old, whether it's a chant, whether it's in a football setting or not, then are we as parents getting too lenient? Are we becoming too lenient with our kids? Are we trying to become or be more of a friend to our kids than parents? Because I like there's stuff that I did when I was a kid. I know it's just like you did. There was stuff that we did when we was kids. But just because we did those things, as parents, I feel like you always want your kid to be better, a better version than you were. Like if you call yourself a parent and you are all about the progression of your child, and you're all about their growth, and you're all about their safety, and you're all about the things that you should be as a parent, then you would not want, I would think that you would not want your kids saying the word nigga, you know, despite the fact that we've said it again.
Right.
Now I'm grown now, so if I'm saying that I'm grown, that's fine. But if I hear my kid, and I don't say these things around my kids. My kids don't even really hear curse words. They don't hear that type of stuff and all of that kind of stuff. They don't hear that. So if they hear it, it'll be because they heard it from some kids out the street or whatever the case. Right. But they know not to say none of that. They know not to say none of that. We don't play that type of stuff over here. But if parents are accepting of this type of behavior and just looking like, oh, they're just having fun and da 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 da, it brings into question where do you draw the line as a parent? Where do you draw the line? Where do you say, okay, stop? And how do you explain that to your child? How do you tell them, oh, it's okay for you to curse on the football field, but that's the only place you can curse? You know, I don't ever want to hear you doing it over here. I don't want to hear you. Like, you know, how do you separate those two? And
you can't.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
you can't. I can only speak from experience. So when it comes to, my daughter's 11, so she's about around that age. And by the way, if I could take it back to the inner city kids thing, and I can only speak for high school coaching because that's the only thing I did. But when my high school that I coached, it was the actual high school that I went to, is literally less than 10 minutes away from the poorest part of the city. It's called Black Bottom. So what everybody else would consider the hood. So there is no there, and I made every kid that I coached, I made sure they conducted themselves in a professional manner. I did not slack on that at all, because you are a representation of where you're from sometimes as well. And I didn't want people to see us and think, oh, there's some kids from the hood, they're gonna come here and play some football. So I had them it put a level of respect on themselves out the gate. So there was no cussing, there was no talk about females, there was nothing like that. But when they're talking about the home team, and I'm talking about me being a parent and my daughter, when it comes to cuss words, this is the thing that I say to her, and the reason why she can't curse at 11 years old. That to me is, you have to understand the meanings of the words you're saying. That's number one. Two, you have to understand how people may take or feel about the words that you are using. And number three, you have to be conscious of the fact of how those words make you look as a person. Until you can understand those three things, you can't cuss in my house, or you can't cuss anywhere. Because those three things are what is a level of understanding of what you're doing that you don't have. So you might mess around and say the wrong thing at the wrong time, and consequences will come every time. I promise you. And then I'll take it to the lowest level of the common denominator when it comes to kids. They always want something. So I always tell them, if you want something from somebody, you're gonna have to conduct yourself in a manner that they can understand you. If you go to the bank, you can't go to the bank and say, nigga, I need $500,000. You're gonna have to go to the bank, show a plan, show the reason why you need that $500,000. Be very, very, very articulate in the way you're gonna pay them back, and then you might get that money. So you have to be very careful of what words you use in what context and where you're at. And I'm not saying that to say, some people might say, oh, that's some sand bullshit, that's just playing to the game. No, you have to be able to be multiverse, as you see it on name, and to be able to navigate through life. And there's times and places for things. When I'm in the hood, I'm in the hood, and I'm talking greasy with my homeboys, and we're all from the same spot, and we're all a certain age. But when I'm in front of people who are looking at me to represent a business or represent my culture or represent anything of that nature, I'm going to conduct myself in a certain manner that's going to be respectable. You feel me? So that's how I deal with it when it comes to cussing with my kid. Now, once again, what can we do? Just teach them better. Doesn't mean that they're going to do it. That don't mean that Bella right now might not be cussing in the background. You feel me? Mm-hmm. Listening to Doja Cat. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? So all I can do is show her the way on some Mandalorian, and then make sure that she at least tries to follow it.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I was taught is what you practice becomes part of your nature. So if I practice cursing all the time, if I practice it, then I'm going to curse all the time, because it's something that I'm applying enough energy into to make it manifest in my life. So if this is something that we practice, and as the coaches are their job is to develop these young men.
Exactly.
This is the coaches. You're not. This is not just a game. This is life, because most of these kids ain't gonna make it to the league. If we being honest, y'all can play. It's just not gonna happen. It's not. So when you're in the city, because I grew up in the city. So when you're in the city and you're growing up in the city, and you have all of these different dynamics pulling you in certain ways and everything like that, you're gonna gravitate to what feels good. So so if they cursing and they letting me curse over here and they doing, then I might go hang over here. If they letting me do this or whatever, then I might go hang over there. But when I see something like this facilitated by adults, and then supervised by adults, and no one in that group of adults has the sense to want to have a higher elevation for these the next generation of people who are supposed to take over when we're gone. Like, that part scares me, because it makes it, I see the selfishness in it. It's like what I was telling you, when I saw the comment section and I started seeing people talking about this ain't nothing, y'all tripping and all of that, I started thinking, I'm like, that's a mentality. Like, it's not even common. It's like you totally disassociated common sense. Like, this ain't about you.
Right.
These is kids.
Right. Like, and just because you went through it doesn't mean the next person should. Like even you know what I'm saying? Even if you think about
just
yourself,
you went through it, it should be okay.
Yeah, like what does that mean? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you went through some horrible shit. Everybody should go through it.
Yeah, you went through it. Cool. I went through it. Why they can't go through it?
Yeah,
because they shouldn't have to. That's the whole point of you going through it. It's so
like, what Hov say?
Yeah.
What Hov say?
So you wouldn't have to. Hov
did that, so you wouldn't have to go through that.
You didn't have to. Excuse me.
You got it.
Excuse me. Now, right after I saw that, today, I wake up and it's more bullshit. And I said, what? I said, hold up. This like, I was like, did somebody hear me talking about this? And this just like announced a whole bunch. So I don't know how old this is or whatever the case may be, but I want to show you another video pertaining to football, pertaining to coaching, and pertaining to perception, and how these parents and individuals, I'm not saying all parents, but I'm saying there are individuals that justify this, or even say it's not as bad as it looks, or whatever the case may be. You be the judge. I'm about to show you. Hold on a second. Let's put it up. Let's put it up. All right, here we go. This happened in Atlanta, Georgia, recently. And here you go.
Henderson Stadium. Great start to this one. Mays leading Douglas County 12-0 after one.
Yeah, you saw it. You saw it. You saw it. What you saw right there was a coach in the midst of a game on the field in front of cameras punch one of his players in the stomach. And then tell him to lift his head up, because I've seen him like, look your head up, like so don't nobody see that I punched you, and get right. He already flexed on the boy, and then comes over there and punches him in the stomach. Now, number one, no game is that important. It's a game. That's why they call it a game. Nothing in the game should have you that mad, that frustrated, to where you felt the need to put hands on a kid that doesn't belong to you. You know, and even if he did belong to you, you shouldn't have punched him in the stomach.
Yep.
But again, I went into the comment section, and woe and behold, there were people that said this isn't that bad. This isn't that bad. You're overreacting. This is physicality. This teaches them what? Teaches them what? I'm like, there's nothing you could tell me that teaches that boy other than how to tense up his gut when a punch is coming. Like, that's about all. Next time, harden up your stomach and when the punch is coming. That's only a lesson I could see there. But that gentleman, the coach who did punch the student, was arrested. I think he was charged with battery of some sort or whatever, and was fired from his job, as he should have been.
Yeah.
But again, the comment sections, listening to grown-ups delving in the conversation and commenting in these comment sections about it's not as bad as it looks. I had way worse growing up. And again, someone who's played football most of his life, you when we had our conversation, you said the same thing. You was like, it's bad, but I've seen worse. And you know,
no, and I have
incurred worse.
And I have, but at the same time, just because you have doesn't mean that is okay. Like, that makes no sense. I've seen coaches, they used to have this thing when it's like, this is, I guess, a little bit better than a gut punch, but they'll take the whistle and smack it on top of your helmet in a way that it makes your ears ring. And boy, if that thing is not the most disrespectful thing that a coach can do, because not only does it bother you, but it, like, your ears will be ringing for like forever, just the way to hit the whistle on top of your helmet. And that was back in the days. The helmet might not even make that noise no more, but boy, that used to piss me off. And you know, subtle things of that nature I've seen all the time, sadly, but not to the severity of punching somebody in the gut. That's some Bobby Knight shit. But I say this too. It's not just football. It's a lot of sports that has a lot of coaches, grown men, who don't know how to control their emotions and don't know how to be able to coach and be able to teach and lead. Because when you're coaching, you got to lead, and you can't be leading that way, because that's not going to lead to nothing. But the parents who condone these things, at best, get a John Morant out of it. You know, at best. At worst, dead or in jail, because it's teaching them just violence is the way to do things, violence is the way to lead, and violence is the way to get through things. And that's just not going to work when you are in the world. It's just going to lead you to jail time or something worse. So
man, you hit it dead on it, because like we said before, all of these young men are not going to make it to the next level. So you're teaching them violence that if they're not on the football field, where's the outlet for this violence behavior?
Exactly.
If you taught them nothing but physicality, and to as Gillie chanted with the kids, knock a nigga's head off. If that's what you taught these kids, to knock a nigga's head off, what do you do when there's no head to knock off? If you're not, if you can't play football, but you were taught to knock the nigga's head off, do you walk around with this mentality now that if anybody say anything, I'm gonna knock a nigga head off? If you know what I'm saying? Like, what is this mentality you're breeding? Because you're breeding violence in there. That I understand tenacity. That I understand. There should be a tenacious, like you want to have a tenacious ability in each of your players, but that tenacity does not have to be driven by violence. It doesn't. Like you can have passion in something that you do that breeds tenacity because you play hard. You're just tenacious. You just become a person. Like I played basketball, and so I understand. But I played both, but I didn't play at the level that you played. But I understand the physicalities of both. I grew up top, so I played physical basketball. We didn't just play no finesse basketball. It was very physical at a very young age. I played three positions. I played small forward, shooting guard, and point guard. And when I played like just rec games and just played around and in the community, I played any position. So I'll be down there with the big men, banging with the big men, and this was back when big men didn't stay at the 3-point line, by the way. You know what I'm saying? So you really had to bang to get rebounds and do all of that kind of stuff. So there was definitely a passion for basketball for me. So I played with a tenacity. I've been around the same height pretty much almost all my life. I've been 6 foot, 5'10", 5'11" most of my life. You know what I'm saying? So
keep bragging, sir.
What? Sorry. Yeah, that part. But yeah, so when I was always playing, I would wind up playing against 6'4" guys, 6'5" guys, 6'6" guys, 6'6" guys. Shout out to my man Arthur Carlisle too, man. Boy, dude was he used to work me. And he was 6'6" or 6'7", something to that degree, and I used to have to run. Anyway, we'll get into that. Hold it. Start getting my basketball stories. But you're right. This happens in all sports. I think this happens at any level. And I think it also happens because the kids look up to these coaches and admire them so much that they're afraid to tell on the coaches because they don't want to get them in trouble. So
that's a fact.
So they endure these hardships. They endure the coaches saying unpleasant things to them and hitting them and doing stuff to them because they don't know any better. And I attribute these things again to the negligence of some of the parents. Like you have to go to the source in order for these kids to even think it's acceptable, because at this point, if I know that my parent is not about that, because if you look in that video, some of those kids didn't chant when that chant was going on. They just was smiling but they weren't actually saying the words. So there were kids that knew they shouldn't be saying this shit. So there are parents that are out there parenting, and I commend you, parents. But the ones that are becoming more like friends to their kids because they feel like that's the relationship that they need to have in order to have their kids like them or love them, is what breeds the ability for stuff like this to happen for that young man, because that young man who got punched in the stomach, and I feel so bad for him. When he got punched in the stomach, there was no reaction of going at the coach. He didn't turn around and look to the stands, because if that was my child, you better believe they would have been looking for me. They would have been like, I'm telling my dad, you just put your hands on me? Oh, no, dad. It would have been some of that action, because they know that I will protect you with my life. I will give it up like that. And it don't even matter. Like, I'm not about to let nobody just sit there and do my children wrong. So I say all of this to say that there is definitely a culture of this idea that when you play sports and these coaches put you through these drills and these physical drills and the one-on-one drills, which I think should be outlawed if I'm being honest at this point, because I've seen more concussions happening on one-on-one drills than any other drill in football. Those one-on-ones and if you don't know what a one-on-one drill is, explain to them what a one-on-one drill is, Manny.
Oh, okay. So there's a couple one-on-one drills. I will tell you this. I'm not gonna lie. I am a culprit of loving that fuckery.
Sure you are. I'm sure
But
you are.
my favorite one. Let's say this. You both will lay on your back, right? And there will be one who has the ball, one who has not the ball. There will be a couple of sorry, my bad.
No, that's cool.
There'll be a couple of dummies or whatever they have in between y'all to give it some space. And as soon as they blow the whistle, the person who has the ball gets up, the other one gets up, and you go one-on-one, and somebody's going to win, somebody's going to lose. So you either get ran over or you're going to get tackled. That's the way it is, and that's what they're looking for. But most times out of not, like Ty did say, a lot of people also see that the problem is also coaching in every kind of level. A lot of coaches don't teach you the right way to tackle or the right way to run somebody over. So it's a lot of head-on collision, and you get a lot of concussions doing those one-on-one drills. That's for sure. That's for sure. And another thing that I will say about coaching too, when it comes to violence, you do not teach violence. You do teach aggression. I was a defensive coordinator. I was defensive coach when I played. I was a nose guard. Yes, I'm short, and trust me, I was good. And one thing that I always learned, and the person who gave me my name, who was a Super Bowl champ, who played for the Vikings, and he played at a nose guard position, was that you have to go 100%, because the person that gets hurt is the person that lets off, or the person who, as at the collision, doesn't go 100%. If you both hit each other at 100%, it'll be more times than not okay next to you, somebody going and you just going half-ass and getting hit. So aggression when it comes to defense is very important. Now, what's even more important than the aggression that you hit with is the actual form that you're hitting with. Where is your head placement? Where is your back? How low are your hips? All that is what keeps you safe in football. And if you're teaching aggression, but you're not teaching the proper way to do the thing, then you're just going to get a bunch of kids hurt out there. Because they're out here bleeding with their heads. They're out there putting their head down when they're tackling. All the things that put you in the hospital.
Absolutely.
So you have to teach how to hit first before you want to encourage hitting.
Yeah. Nah, you're absolutely correct. You said a lot in that statement, but I think it's also very, very important to realize that the dynamics of football are changing. And that's like what we continue to get is more and more data that says that you have two speeding masses that collide at if they're both going at max speed, and the collision, and they hit. What you said is it's most likely that you guys won't necessarily get hurt in those instances. It's the one that kind of slows down and then gets overworked by the other entity.
Yeah, the moment of impact, you got to go full speed.
But see, the thing about it is what we're starting to realize is full impact with two different. It's like a car collision.
Yeah, every time.
So whenever you're having these car collisions, you are literally putting yourself at risk to, like, it could be over. That's why a lot of parents are pulling their kids away from football and because they know that CTE is a real thing.
Yeah.
We've seen multiple cases of what happens when you do get CTE. 9 times out of 10, either you're suicidal, you become suicidal and you kill yourself, or you become violent and kill someone else. These are why I say, when you have chance, like, knock a nigga shit loose, even if that's the idea,
right?
You don't have to say it. Fact. You don't have to, because what you say, you literally manifest So if I'm saying knock a nigga shit loose, knock a nigga shit loose, knock a nigga shit loose, knock a nigga shit loose. If that becomes my mentality, to knock a nigga shit loose, everything I do is hard. Right. I do hard at everything I do. Now, yes, you want aggression, you want discipline, but you also want these players to be individuals outside of football, because football may not exist for them all for the rest of their lives. And and that brings me to the last video I'm going to play. And this, I want to say before I play it, just made me smile after seeing all of this bullshit that I saw. This touched me in a way. I was like, yo, this is what, if I can put my son in football, because it's the discussion in this house. My wife is not for football at all for my son. So I have to find some place who has a coach that is willing to really be a good coach. No, I'm with you. I have to.
I understand though. I get it. I get it completely.
So this guy, when I came across this video, let me go ahead and bring this one up. Everything he said just resonated. So let me go ahead and pull this up. Let's get this.
Of the 1.1 million kids that will be playing high school football this year, 7.6 will play beyond high school. At the NAIA level, Division III level, Division II, 1AA, FCS, all those kind of things. And that's just a true statistic. But God willing, 100% of them will be adults. We think this is about sport. We think it's about the sport of football. We think it's about the sport of basketball. We are cheating our kids in the biggest way if we're just coaching the sport. And I'm so frustrated sometimes with people who cannot completely get that, because this is an extension of the classroom. This is educational-based activities. It was put in public education to help with the character building skills and those kind of things. We need as many kids as possible to be out for, activities, sports, and all those kind of things. Sport is the nugget to get them out, to teach them life skills. Because 7.6% of high school athletes this year, of the 1.1 million kids that will be playing high school football this year, 7.6 will play beyond high school. At the NAIA level, Division III level, Division II, 1AA, FCS, all those kind of things. And that's just a true statistic. But God willing, 100% of them will be adults.
Man,
we think this is about sport.
That's
what I was saying.
Basketball. We are cheating our kids in the biggest way.
That's how you coach a sport. That's how you coach a sport.
I'm so frustrated sometimes with people who cannot.
Yeah, man. He said something huge at the end of that. He said 100% of them, God willing, will be adults.
And not just adults, but productive adults. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's the point. He's basically saying, if you're a coach who's coaching football, you're wrong already. If that's what you're coaching, if they're just coming and coaching my kid to play football, then you lost already.
Yeah.
You're here you're coaching character. You're building character in these young, undeveloped minds. And that's the part that had me so heated. These are 11-year-old boys. Their minds have not completely developed yet. And y'all, and this is the type of stuff that y'all find funny. Y'all like, oh, and then Gillie jumps in there. And I was like, yo, you look like a clown. Like, you really look like a clown. You're a grown man. And you over here looking like a clown, and then you sharing this on your soul. If you just wanted to go over there and act a fool with them and just kick it with the kids, cool. I would have been like, yo, that's cool. That's cool to you, man. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know what other uplifting speeches you gave them, because you didn't post that. You decided to post the ignorance, and that's where we're at with the social media stuff. Everybody wants to post the ignorant shit. You know what I'm saying? Like this is that, this is it. And then you got everybody chiming in and all of that. The boy gets punched in the stomach. Like when I saw the video, you know, that whoever recorded the video the first time, they was laughing in the background, and I'm like, there's nothing funny about that. Like, where was the humor in that him punching that kid in the stomach? If that was your kid, you definitely wouldn't have found that funny. If anything, they would have been having a news article talking about breaking news. Parent jumps out the stand and chokes the shit out of the coach on the field. Like,
you get hit with everything.
That's kind of that's what you would deal with. But the fact that you again have this, there's like, I feel like this disassociation, man, and like this like, what did I say earlier? I told you it feels like this disconnect. Like there's no understand. Like you're so invested in the sport of football that you can't disassociate right from wrong. Like this is like, just because it was a coach punching this kid in the stomach, it makes it okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have a coach like that coach that came up there. And the sad part, and this is the sad part is that was a white coach, and all of the coaches that did all of this bullshit was black coaches. And that's that. I'm not saying that white coaches don't fuck up.
Right,
that's what I'm saying. Sure. But what I'm saying is, for this individual to not only have it figured out, because there was nothing in his statement that I disagreed with. There was nothing with it. Like he said, out of the 1.1 million high school students, 7.6% of them will make it to the next level. Mm-hmm. So, but God willing, 100% of them will make it to adulthood. And I want to be the coach that breeds and develops good human beings. If they don't want to play football or they don't make it playing football, then they can thrive in this field or thrive in that field or whatever the case may be. And when I see again this level, because this is something that I've had conversations with you about before. This is something that I've had conversations about with my friends when it comes to like I said, the one-on-one drills, which you used to love, which I again, if you have not coached those kids up, and I don't think one-on-one drills should even be done until high school, if I'm being honest.
I never understood doing those drills with kids. That makes
because you're still teaching them the basic fundamentals. You haven't even, like, you have to teach you're teaching them the basic fundamentals of tackling, the basic fundamentals of running the ball, the basic fundamentals of using your pads, the basic so at that early stage in their development, you don't want to shake up their mentality. You don't want to shake up their brain. You're like, come on. Like, I know, like when I took my son at 6 years old to Mighty Mike's, I think that's what they had him at, because he was only 6, so he was a Mighty Mike. And they put him, because he was strong. He was skinny, but he was strong. And they put him on an O-line. And I was like, why is my son on the O-line? Like, no, I was like, why is he on the O-line? But what they were doing, what I didn't know that they were doing, was that they were training the kids at each position. And I was like, okay, to see where the best fit was for him on the team. Right. So once I wrapped my head around him being on the offensive line, I did what a father is supposed to do, or parent is supposed to do in that moment, or has that opportunity. I started working with him off the field so that he would be more prepared for what he gets on the field. Right. So we started practicing getting up under them pads and pushing. And I'm bending down, leaning my weight and making him push against his dad. I'm like, no, you're gonna have to push me. You're gonna have to push me. And he started to thrive. And I remember one of the most exciting moments I can ever remember as a dad was watching my son drive another one of the players completely off of the field. And I'm not playing. I'm talking about.
I'm talking about. You know what we call that? You know what we call that?
What?
We call it kicking him out the club.
Oh, well, he
He kicked him out the club.
Listen, his part-time job was bouncer because he was kicking people out the job. I mean, out the club
Kicking him out
on
the
a
club.
regular. Listen, he drove a boy off the field, like all the way down the field. It was like you could stop. He kept going.
I don't hear the whistle.
Yeah, he drove. And listen, in practice, he drove a boy all the way into a tree. I was like, oh
It'd be
no,
like that.
no. So, but those are proud moments. But at the same time, you encourage sportsmanship. You encourage fairness. You encourage the kids to play hard and be tenacious and be passionate. But I think that whole, it just rubbed me wrong in my spirit, bro, when I saw the post, the GILLIE stuff, and then the coach punching them, and it's just like, man, if this is the world we're living in, and this is going to be acceptable behavior, and then parents really got their work cut out for them, man. And then this next generation of parents, like if we're the last generation, if we're the last generation of the parents that actually were like parents and not homies with they kids, you know what I'm saying? Like, because I know you and Bella got a really good relationship, but I know you also don't play the radio. So it's like, but that there's that, and then there's the parent that's like, I'm gonna just allow, because I know there's this movement for allowing more communication to happen. Like let's be more communicative within our households and allow our kids to express themselves. And there's nothing, I definitely let my kids express themselves. But what I will not do is I will not get into a battle of wits with a child. I'm not.
Oh yeah, no, we ain't doing that.
Like we're not doing that. So it's like,
that,
but I do know people that do that. I think that there are. I have an older daughter who came to me one day, and she said to me, because I told her that there were certain things expectations that I had when she comes to stay with me, and that maybe are not necessarily expectations that she has at home with her mom. And I said, I understand that things run away that they run over there, but they run differently over here. Like, so if you want to come over here, I want you here, but understand there are rules and things that you will have to follow to do so. My daughter told me I am a human. I said, well, I mean, I would hope so.
We kind of know that.
I thought I was too, but all right, cool. But where's this going? And then she goes into all of this, and I will call it what it is, which is just jargon, because it was a whole bunch of stuff that just didn't make any sense. She just felt the need to say stuff. So I said, all right, come on, go ahead and tell me, lay it on me. Well, Dad, as a human, I feel like I should be able to make my own decisions about myself, my hair, my body, my thing, my doom, you know what I'm saying? And I said, well, what kind of decisions are we talking about when it comes to your body and everything like that? So, I had a kind of more of an understanding of where she was going. And she was like, well, if I wanted to do something like cut my hair off, or if I wanted to, get a tattoo, I should be able to do that. And I was like, well, I think that's a fair assessment. I think you should be able to do that. But in order to do that, you got to have your own shit. Like you can have all of these theories and all of these thought processes, because if that's what, I want you to be a thinker. But that doesn't mean because you have these thoughts that makes them valid, that because you had them. So if you think that you should get a tattoo, that does not mean that I feel as though you should get a tattoo. So therefore, I'm not going to condone that. And since I am the one responsible party for you, until you are able to make your own decisions in a way that facilitates you being able to do all of these things, then that's when you can do it. But until then, we're not going to have these type of discussions. This is not open for debate. It's just some things are not open for debate. And I notice just from reading articles and just for coming up on feeds of things and just different podcasts and things like that, that there's this move and this dynamic that I'm seeing in this next wave of culture, where it's almost like the kids should be elevated to the decision table. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's like the kids should be able to allow to make their own decisions, what they wear and all of this kind of stuff. Like, yeah, kids should be able to be allowed to wear what they want to wear if they buy that shit. Like, I mean, like, I'm not mad at you. I mean, like, look, we had this talk the other day, you know what I'm saying, about Bella, what she wants to wear and everything like that. So it's like, if it's, as long as it's not inappropriate, like, as long as your butt's not hanging out and stuff like that, I can negotiate. That's it. We can negotiate some stuff. But if you come in here with some wild ass shit and you think you going somewhere with me with that wild shit on, then I should be able to have the same desire to be like, look, you're not going nowhere with me looking like that. Like,
that's a fact. That's a damn fact.
You can wear it. You can wear it. You can go outside and do whatever if that's what you want to do. But I'm going over here. So
you ain't getting the car. Like, it ain't gonna happen.
It is what it is, man. But I think this is a great conversation, man. And it's one of those conversations that I hope the comment section is able to really, really, really get involved in. We want to hear from the comment section. We want to hear what you feel, how you feel about both of these videos, all three of these videos, by the way, not just both of these videos, but all three of the videos. Let us know your thoughts on whether you feel GILLIE was appropriate in his line, in the way in that he took in his decision to post the video and chant with the children, or if you disagree with his comments, well, not his comments, but him posting the video and also being involved as an adult with that chant. Also, do you feel as though the punch from the coach was justified, or do you feel like he got what he deserved and should have went to jail? And the last, like I said, the last video, do you support what that coach was saying? And do you also feel like that is what coaching is all about, is developing human beings, not just developing football players and X's and O's? Because I think a lot, would you agree that a lot of coaches get caught up in the X's and O's, and so that's why they get so passionate about their coaching methods and the way that they take the approaches that they have to coaching?
To me, is that the reason why a lot of them do is also, you got to remember, a lot of them, and when I say get caught up in the X's and O's, I mean like, and forget about development, is because sometimes a lot of them won't worry about their job too damn much instead of worrying about the kids. So a bad record means you might get fired. You know what I'm saying? So they were so worried about wins that they're not even worried about who they're winning with. If they're gonna be be able to carry this winning after football. Yeah.
I just watched just last night before I went to bed. I watched that Florida Gators documentary. On Urban Meyer, and that's exactly what happened. Urban got the pressure of being the Florida coach, and he went in there under so much pressure. Like I felt bad for him after really watching it. I was like, yeah, that's a lot of pressure. And he was under so much pressure that he drugged those boys. I mean, drug those boys and drug them. So it got so bad to where he had Brandon Seiler as basically the enforcer, and they didn't even have coaches in the weight rooms with them. Brandon Seiler and I think mostly Brandon Seiler, because he was like the team captain. But there was like a drill where they had a drill where they were doing leg scissors and planking. They were planking and doing leg scissors and doing the planking and leg scissors and planking leg scissors. But the whole thing was you couldn't let your legs touch the floor.
Right.
And so if anybody let legs touch the floor, we starting over. And they kept doing it. It was like somebody came in, one of the running backs came in late. They all had to start over. Everybody had to start over. And then one of the dudes kept dropping his legs. And Brandon Silas said, you drop your legs one more time and I'm going to punch you in your face. And the dude must have dropped his legs. And Brandon Silas said, I punched him in his face. And I was like, where in the rule book does it give anybody the right, if the coaches don't have the right to put their hands on me?
Exactly.
Why would somebody who's on the same level as me have the right to play on me? Just because you, by all accounts, might think you're better than me because you're the team captain, that doesn't give you no rights to put your hands on me. But what it was Urban's stress trickling down the ladder into Brandon Siler and him feeling the same pressure that Urban Meyer's feeling. And so therefore it now magnifies everything that's going on. So you now are in this position that in this mentality, this mindset, that if you're not doing what everybody, if you're not willing to go to the ends of the earth, then you are trash or you are, this. And so if I can label you that, now I can treat you like that. And so this idea that he could punch the dude in the face and then not get fined, not get no type of discipline. He walked around very cocky. He was very, very cocky in that documentary. But it was very telling. They just talked about how Urban Meyer had a class system where they had this white tape, and if you were on the side of the white tape, you would get fed lobsters and steaks, and you would have a personal chef and people come bring it to you and all of this, and you would like basically treated like the king. But if you were on the other side of that tape, you were considered trash. So you would get like burgers, and hot dogs, and you have to make that shit yourself and all of that kind of stuff. And I was like, and just watching that video and to hear Urban telling people things that the coaches, they said a lot of coaches feel that way, but a lot of people didn't say it. But yeah, Urban did. Urban was like, look, you either this or you that here.
Right.
And you go until you can prove to me that like that you're this, then I'm gonna treat you like this. And so he even went into a deeper conversation about how there was one player that wound up hitting a girl, and he cut him, and he didn't want to cut him, but he had to because that was the one rule that they had against domestic abuse. If you had any domestic problems, you were off the team, no questions asked, zero tolerance for it.
Right. You could kill 3 people though.
Yeah, you could. Yes, you could go to jail. You could rob somebody. You could do all that. Yeah, if you're a good enough player, we may be able to sweep you under the rug. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, because this like they also did when we're talking about in the documentary, Aaron Hernandez.
That's what I said.
That went there, and he had the incident where he I think broke the dude's nose or something. At a club for comments but Tim Tebow did say they were making some really, really racist comments.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it.
And what like that, I mean that's I guess that's game.
It's Gainesville, bro. I wouldn't doubt it.
Not South Florida, so yeah. So
yeah, I wouldn't doubt it.
So they were making some really racist comments, and he wound up doing, but they swept that under the rug, and to their own detriment, because sweeping that under the rug only created a lane for him to kill people and do all of that. But that's also it was circumstances of CTE and
Of course.
these drills
Yeah.
that they had, these practices, man. Some of the stuff just looked. I was like, man, it was excruciating to watch. It was just like, wow. I was like, dang, y'all had to do all of that. Like, bro, these dudes was working out at 12 o'clock at night. And
I know.
like this was, I mean, I was like, wow.
3 a days is
Oh
rough.
man, it was definitely, and if you lost, he was like, man, yeah, you paid for it. Y'all paid for it. Like, and the sad part is Urban Meyer had 2 losses in 3 years.
Yep. Oh, I know. I was there at one of them.
He had two
To Ole Miss.
And that's the crazy part is he was under so much pressure. You had 2 losses.
Yep.
And the pressure was because at Florida it was championship or bust every year.
Yeah, basically.
So man, I hope we can figure it out as a society, man. But it's just the more and more I see, the more and more I'm getting scared of, and it's just what it is, man. But again, thanks to the comment section. Please post your comments in the comment section. If you are following us on any of your listening devices, we appreciate you listening. Continue to share, like, subscribe, all of our content. We want to continue to grow, guys. We want to continue to be able to facilitate some bigger interviews and bring some guests on and have some fun with that. Benny, you got anything coming up?
This Friday should be the corner downtown Orlando. I'm actually funny you say that. This is far from now, but on October 7th, I actually will be in Gainesville to do the Black College or University of Florida get together, the gala. So I'll be the comedian for the gala with my boy Dorian Gale. So that's gonna be nice. That's gonna be a really big show. So shout out to UF. I will see y'all pimping it a little bit. Yeah, I got some things, man. Minnie Morales at Instagram. Go ahead and check the page out. You'll see where I'm at. I got a couple things going on, and
about the big show. Tell them about the big show that's coming up. Oh man,
you talking about the play?
Yeah, the play.
Okay, September 15th. I got the play Don Quixote is coming back. We're doing 2 shows that night. We're doing one in the morning for the Osceola schools at the Osceola Arts, and then we're doing one at nighttime. You can get tickets to the nighttime one. Like I said, go on my Instagram. The tickets are in Eventbrite. It's Don Quixote. It is going to be in Spanish and English. So all my bilinguals, come out and check it out. It is a beautiful play. It's going to start going on tour soon. So y'all definitely got to come check it out before it gets famous. And then y'all be like, damn, man, we could have saw it for $15.
Hey, facts, man. And y'all better not play with it, man, because my man's going up. So also you can catch me on the New Blurred Order Saturday morning at 10 a.m. every Saturday, where we'll be talking some nerd stuff and probably some of Sofa. We might have an interview. You never know. We keep a
big ballers. I'm trying to be like y'all.
Hey man, we just trying to make it, man. We just trying to make it. But other than that, man, I think that's all I got. Until next week. Oh, big shout outs again to the comment section. Big shout outs to everybody that shows support, shows love, continues to come through and check us 2 guys out. We just chopping it up. We just talking some shit. And hopefully we can just spread some insight, man, and just shed some light on some of the things that are affecting us as a society as a whole. Stop letting social media, just drive us, man. We got to stop. Benny, real quick. I'm at the point, man, where I wish Y2K happened. Remember when they was like, remember, you remember how scared everybody was?
Wow.
When they was like, yo, this was the last year we gonna be there. It's like, yo, man.
That was a real thing. People don't even know. That was a real thing.
Bro, I was hugging tight at the time. I remember waiting. I was like, yo. It's about to happen.
This is it.
It's about to happen. That thing hit. I said, oh man, they was
man,
like,
they
nothing happened, man. Nothing happened. But man, oh my gosh, man. I beg for the day. I honestly do that. We just lose all of this technology shit, man. And we got to go back to being real human beings and developing real relationships and going out here and living life. No more social media. No more yo, everybody driving this and driving that. And I ain't talking about cars. I'm talking about everybody driving their own, theories and
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Like just like living, you know what I'm saying? Like just where everybody kind of shares the same, we all are under the same umbrella, man. And I would love to see what this world would look like as a full reset. Like, well, just no more social media, man. I have to actually hop in the car to go visit my man and have conversations. Right. Like, that's what we have to do. And I'll be okay with it. I'll be okay with it. But man, listen, I've talked enough. Listen, on behalf of myself and Minnie, we are the Multiverse Podcast. Until next week, we out.
Peace.